starting with I thank God that my mom came here to be with me, and my good friend, famous comedian Michael Coley. That will be how I open today.
Okay, well, thank you. I think you have 30 seconds.
30 more seconds. So then I thank all of you all, because I understand that you're sitting to hear all of the candidates, and it's taking time and energy, and I appreciate the fact that you all remain here to hear me speak and hopes of becoming your own.
Okay. One of the things that the Planning Coalition is very interested in is vision. And so the first question will be, what is your vision for South Shore? How do you see South Shore in the future?
South Shore specifically?
South Shore specifically.
There was something called the South Shore Commission, which we now know to be the Planning Coalition. And I'm running because residents in South Shore, we just haven't felt safe. And over the last 15 years, there has not been a plan to make us feel safe enough to be a community. So much so that we'll be in our house and we'll need to use the bathroom, and if we don't have tissue, we don't even feel safe enough to go to our neighbor and ask them to loan us some. So I, with Foundation, want you all to understand that I think that it's not real until it's on paper, and I'm not going to have an adequate amount of time, but you can come to my campaign office, and we have an 8-page foundation that you can have in your hand and you can take home, put in your kitchen drawer, and see how you fit into our plan to make South Shore better.
Specifically, though, I mean, when you look at South Shore, do you see retail? Do you see a commercial district? Do you see a transportation hub? Do you see a arts community? How do you see it in terms of just what do you think it would look like?
I see South Shore being added to the Hyde Park effect of being the independent conscious of the city of Chicago, where it is South Shore will be a place of industry. I want us to invest in green energy renovation, and also being a ward that doesn't allow our young people to just be wanderously aiming through the neighborhood, but they know that there are opportunities for them in every part of this ward. So being in the green energy renovation, and also offsetting some of the cost that affects us with global warming, South Shore is going to be the place, just like Hyde Park, where you can walk through the neighborhood, no matter what time of the hour it is, and feel safe. You know your neighbors. All of our businesses are involved with giving our young people opportunities, maybe to sweep the shop, the stores, because it's booming. We've invested in our mom and pop shops, and our police officers are walking the neighborhood and they know us by name. It is going to be the place of amazing community.
The coalition also has a view of what the alderman, anyone who's seeking the office of alderperson, should have done. And so they believe that there should be strong ties to the community, a strong track record of service in the community. So we would like you to name 3 things that you have led or co-led in the 5th Ward.
In the 5th Ward, if you look through that Planning Coalition description, you'll see Young Leaders Alliance as a partner with the Planning Coalition. And it's an organization that I started over a year ago, and we mobilized 10,000 citizens throughout the city marching for different causes in Chicago. And actually, if you all remember, we shut down 71st and Jeffrey. It's the first thing you see when you go on my website, with almost 400 people all over the city who came to our neighborhood because they were tired of the violence that we were facing in our city. That's number 1. Number 2, I have been extremely proud of the Planning Coalition and very supportive in their push of getting us a quality grocer on 71st and Jeffrey. And you said 3 things, and then the 3rd thing is, I'll tell you this, even with my office open, with me being a pastor, all day long, young people and citizens come in there because they don't have a job. And we have helped over 200 young people find jobs in the city of Chicago just off of our personal networks, calling friends, are you hiring, and plugging young people into work. And I know that that's what we can do in our neighborhood.
I'm glad you brought up the Jeffrey Plaza and the grocery store, because that has been a conversation that I've been hearing ever since I moved into South Shore. What do you think about how that has progressed, how it has moved from eminent domain, the threat of eminent domain, to a new tenant coming in with a questionable past? So how have you viewed that, and what would you have done differently?
I'm very disappointed. And the reason that I'm disappointed is because with organizations like the Planning Coalition and the South Shore Commission, that would never happen if we empower our advocates to be advocates for the people while they're at work. So eminent domain was a forced move because of abrasive styles of negotiations and the lack of honesty in bringing real business experts to the table who have business acumen to be able to negotiate a deal effectively for us, and or the lack again of a plan. There should have been a contingency plan that if a grocery store ever left our neighborhood, we would have something to follow up with it, and if nothing else, we would at least be able to empower our people who could also come together and create something that we own, like a co-op. There was no option, and we're at a place now where I'm very insulted as a resident that the once grocery store that my alderman committed to fighting being here, to not allow him to come here, she's now supporting it with a different name to say, I got us a grocery store, but it's not a quality grocery store, and we deserve better than that. So that is a vehicle. That is a vehicle of a continuing problem, and that problem is one thing. We keep losing things in our neighborhood, and developers think that they can come and bully us around, but it's time for us to get representation and understand the job, not to be a dictator, but to be a representative and let the community be at the table.
So how do you ensure and how do you bring the community to the table? How do you build a relationship? What's your view of what that relationship would look like between community and the alderman's office that doesn't exist now?
So you vote, you're stuck with this individual for 4 years. We have technology now. The first thing that my office is working on right now is a advisory council where there'll be, once again, we'll bring back precinct captains. Somebody that's going to be in every precinct that is responsible for galvanizing the voice of all the residents who live in that precinct. And in technology, they're going to push a button to vote on anything that's coming in our city. I commit that if it's going on in City Hall, you're going to know about it. But then beyond that, it's because people get complacent. Government is getting corrupt and complacent because they don't be accountable. They should vote, this commission should vote for everything, including on if that alderman should get a raise for that particular year. And when we begin to allow ourselves to hear the heartbeats of the people, because you cannot represent 50,000 people on your own dictatorship. But as an alderman, having this advisory council of residents and a youth advisory council, I will sit down with them every single week. As a pastor, I have to see my church every week. I'm going to sit down with them every single week, talk about the issues, and get the heartbeat of those people who are going to be affected by the decisions at City Hall.
I think most of us will agree that there are a significant number of underdeveloped and empty spaces in the 5th Ward. You can look around and see them boarded up, paper in the window, all of that. Do you have suggestions for the uses of those spaces? And how would you specifically, what would you do to develop it?
If it's city-owned property?
No, these are just...
If it's city-owned property, first of all, we're going to get these bars down and we're going to beautify these lots so that our community members can use them. We're going to make our community attractive. If it's vacant, first of all, we need to fix this foreclosure crisis. I think that we should be taxing anybody who owns a vacant building. I understand you're paying property tax, but I would propose a vacant building tax. And you need to pay the city for keeping this eyesore in our community. And maybe banks will be less prone to quickly foreclose on people. And we can use that money to create jobs, fix add to this financial crisis. Maybe some of you all who work very hard for this city, instead of us continuing to refinance old debt and bonds that my generation is going to have to shoulder, maybe we can become innovative free thinkers again that create energy for you all to add to the tax base. All of those homes represent jobs that we can give to young people to fix up their community and have ownership in their community, because that's something that we built and create a tax base again for us to help solve some of these financial crises in our community. Again, it's all in our plan. Come to the office and grab you one. I got 2 minutes to tell you everything. Ooh, that's hot.
So is there a role, though, and we talk about economic development, is there a role for more TIFs? Do you see that we should be turning to TIFs to develop the community? Or is there too many TIFs? What's your view on that?
TIFs is hard. I thank Mayor Washington for the amazing idea. But my focus in TIF is just simply transparency and reform. And we need to get out, we need to break this machine and get some human beings down in City Hall. And I say that because I'm looking at everybody that's involved, and it's a bunch of greedy individuals that's more concerned about profit than they're about the people who elected them. I've had people march with me, put my name on their shirt. How would I get in office and disrespect them? Reform the tips, make it public, and take those funds from downtown and put them where they belong, in blighted communities. We're going to end blight with me being an alderman, because our aldermen would understand that when I come to City Hall with these precinct captains, I'm coming 50,000 strong. And if you take it out of our tip, you put it back in our community. There should be no blight in a ward that has tip. Fifth Ward, get ready. Change is coming.
That's the last. We only have 1 minute left.
Okay.
I'll say this, then with 1 minute. Planning Coalition and other organizations and chambers, I watched them be disrespected, unappreciated, and undermined. I want to be the alderman to sit down with the table of these individuals who keep your heartbeat, and I want them to be empowered. But also I need you all to join them and help them as well. Because while you're at work, they're the ones fighting on the front lines for what we need. Our chambers and our advocates, they need our support. I've been an advocate for the last 2 years. And I know what it's like to march for everything and nobody give a donation. Look at my campaign for me. But listen to me. We need to strengthen those individuals. Because we so busy saying what the Chicago way is. No, that's what it was. And it's time for us to break the machine and get human beings in leadership.
Okay, so now we'll take questions from the audience.
Okay, we have a question from the audience.
First, I wanted to know, do you feel that the residents and the business owners need to be more accountable within the community? And secondly, how do you make us more accountable for maintenance of our properties, maintenance of our businesses, keeping simple things like picking up trash in front of your business? How would you do that? How would you increase the communication between the residents and the business people so that they know what their responsibilities are?
That's an amazing question. What's your name? I'll say this, and I got 2 minutes, so I'll just connect it to my philosophy view. Rules without relationship breeds rebellion. You have to empower people before you punch them. We have community meetings that residents don't show up because they don't think their voice matters. So the way you make them accountable is you show them community. You show them the power of being unified. For example, when I went to all these businesses, I said, what do you all have in common? You all should be buying that in bulk, and you lower your overhead. And when you think like that and then take that money and use it to mentor a young person and let them come in your business and find out what it looks like to be a business owner.
Come on.
That simple comment. He said, you know what, young man? I like that. Put your sign in the window and we're gonna find out how all the barbershops can buy common goods. And when they begin to think like that, you'll go to one and say, man, that barbershop is suffering. But because it's a coalition and because we feel connected, we got to go save it and make sure none of our barbershops look bad. And that is the thinking that residents need to get back to. We need to stop labeling things and siloing things. We look at Hyde Park and South Shore as two different worlds, but we're all the Fifth Ward. If we're not thriving, but they're thriving, the ward's still not thriving. So we got to break these dividing lines. We got to cross over these dividing lines. We got to be a community, because I'm going to tell you something. All the biases and all the genders, our children are suffering. And they watching us be dysfunctional. And if we don't stop this, we're going to have more bloody summers, more blight. We're going to be more powerless. But them days are going to end if you all elect me to become your alderman, because we need leadership that knows how to lead, but it also knows how to humble themselves and allow people to tell them what they want to, how they want to live today.
I have a question that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. So you talked a little bit about technology. You talked a
Say
little
your
bit
name,
about,
because I want to know.
I'm Larry Sultan.
Nice to meet you.
You talked a little bit about technology, but you have this 8-page platform, and maybe it's in your office to kick up traffic, but why is